Hi, I'm Jamela Khosa, and today I'll be showing you a teaching tool for a grade 3 English lesson on shared or guided reading. Okay, so let me show you what we're making today. Today we will be making an A3 flip book. Okay, now let me show you what you need to make this A3 flip book. You will need a box of cookies, you will need a pencil, a fine liner or a Koki or something thick to write with so it doesn't rub out. But if you also prefer to write your writing in pencil, please do so. You'll also need a ruler if you prefer, it's optional. Very important, I used an old grade 0 or nature book that has got pages that are not lined. And what I did is I went to the middle of the book and pulled out the pages. That way it gives me the A3 format that I'm looking for. The reason I also used your blank pages is that it just allows me to play around with the position of my book. If you prefer, you can also use the landscape format or the portrait format. The second piece of paper that I would highly advise if you're using a nature book or blank pages is that you have one with lines. Now, I just want to quickly show you that if I pull one out of here, always work from the middle. If you're creating A3 books, okay, I'm going to put this aside. Okay, I'm going to put the cookies aside and the writing utensils. Right, so very important. If you choose to write in a landscape format, you could, if you wanted, just use lined paper, but I wanted to create a portrait format. And so you can see the lines are not aligned, or they go in an oppositional manner. So you have to turn your lines sideways and your piece of paper juts out there. Now, I would also advise that you use a window and a piece of press stick to keep it in place. So I put a piece of press stick there, a piece of press stick so that your piece of paper doesn't shift and it gives you the space to work with. Put it against the window pane and you will be able to see it neatly. Now, let's have a look at the book. The book can work in 2 different methods, or 3 different methods actually. Okay, if you've got a clipboard, you can position your book to flip from top to bottom. If you prefer, you can also staple the pages together and you can then work from left to right. And this is a nice way if your children are struggling with the direction of your book or reading direction, then I would advise that you work from left to right, that you flip it as you would a normal book. Okay, the third method that I also like is, depending on how you want to use this material in the future, you can always then use these pages side to side. Maybe you want to stick them up on a piece of wall that you can always refer to in your teaching, maybe as posters in your classroom. So it's quite flexible, which is what I love. Okay, so now when creating this book, I decided to have the theme of open wide. The picture that I chose is the main theme, is actually the dentist. The theme of this book is the dentist. So you don't need, because it's a grade 3 level, you don't need to have lots and lots of pictures. You can actually have the children create their own little books after you've gone through this reading to do with their experiences of the dentist, and they can provide the pictures for you. Okay, and what's nice about this is that you can then look at the spacing. You'll notice I've got dots next to each of my lines, and that just helps the children learn about positioning and spacing on lines, and you can then be able to focus on the grammar. You can look at whether it's a fiction or a non-fiction book. You can look at the vocabulary and so forth. So I really hope you enjoy making your own book. It's simple. You can use twisties, you can use crayons or whatever, pencil crayons if you prefer. Thank you for joining me today. See you next time.